3-cylinder 2-stroke Mercury from the early 2000s. Here's some of the mods that I did to mine. I added a flush port outside the cowl coming through the front of the cowl with a shutoff so I can inject water there. And I keep this little doohickey handy on a silicone adapter for other flushing. By the way, this hose goes here and goes all the way to the flush port at the top of the block where I screwed in a brass fitting on Teflon tape, and that shuts off by the shutoff right there at the front. A little lever on the side there. Same thing I did here at the bottom. There's a bottom flush port, and I added a brass tube there and a hand knob you can just unscrew and very simply add this little silicone jumper to a hose and screw water directly in there and jet it in. I added a clear hose here for the telltale that comes out a little further so I could see it more easily. Here's the restrictor, which is in friction but easily pulled out underway. If something gets clogged up, you can easily see it. And then this pulls right off. There's no need to have a clamp on this. It pulls right off for easy maintenance or flushing, putting a piece of trimmer string up in there if you need to. That's the flushing. So now you can flush from the front into the top of the block, or you could take this off and reverse flush. You could flush in there or let it drain out. You can flush in here by putting that little short rubber hosey on here after you pull this off. So you can flush every which way. So here, when you flush, you may want to force water to stay inside the block. So you plug that with some good Gorilla tape and you get one of these rubber stoppers for a chair. Then you can flush high pressure and really, bang here, agitate, bang, 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 agitate, and get the stuff out of there. And you can sometimes see crud come out when you bang. This is assuming that in between you're doing rid lime flushes. Something else that I did for water flow and cooling is I added a clear piece of round Lexan polycarbonate so that I could see the thermostat through the cover and see if it's actually opening and see if water's coming through, if there's any crud in there. And I added these hand knobs that have the right thread. Very easy to unscrew and inspect and clean out if necessary. It's nice to be able to see when that thermostat is actually opening properly. Down here, I added some quick clips, so if I need to disconnect this, it's a little bit easier than permanent zip ties, and they're strong enough, no problem. These little clips that you can do with a needle nose. And I added a wing nut here so I could take this off if I need to adjust, etc. And it's captive with a zip tie here, and this moves as a unit anyway, so that just holds that from unscrewing. I labeled the idle timing right there and this high-speed timing there, and I also labeled a little more clearly the proper timing marks on the flywheel. And what else did I do? Okay, on the flywheel cover, I only have 2 screws holding it down. I think that's perfectly fine, and I rounded these tops off because they were very sharp, so I made them round. On the air box, I added a hand knob so I can very easily, again, without tools. This is all about without tools, being able to just do it on the fly. Unscrew the air box if necessary. And that, I believe, I have a temperature gauge here, which I may extend up to the front, and it's just pinched underneath here. Here's my compression numbers. Decent compression, I guess. And I also deleted the oil injection, so I do premix. Over here is there's my, and in order to get that lower screw there, I had to break out this tab. There's a tab here that I cut out, as you can see, that's pot metal right there. I had to break that away, and then I had to be careful not to remove the spiral gear that stays inside, because it needs that spacing, but it just spins and provides spacing, but doesn't turn the pump anymore. But to get this bottom screw, I had to drill a hole there, which I easily block with a square of electrical tape. So there's and that's an OEM cap, by the way. Mercury Quicksilver does sell that cap. It may be for something else, but it works as a perfect delete cap for those who choose to. I use a clear filter so I can see what's going on, just a regular lawnmower filter. Sometimes they leak around the top. You have to make sure that you get a good one. Pressurize them, make sure it doesn't leak out. And over here, when draining the carburetors at the end of the season, this one's always hard to get to, so I drilled a hole here. Again, just a piece of electrical tape seals that up. Same thing too here. If I want to clean this out, clean that telltale port, it helps to have something I can push straight in if I want to push in a trimmer string or even a screwdriver and work it around. By the way, when flushing under hose pressure, you could bang with your plastic mallet all over here, and just agitate and kind of, you know, break any crud loose. And of course, this is not to replace your routine saltwater rid lime flush, you know, during the season or at the end of the season, but it's just to kind of help keep it clear. Down here in Florida, there's a lot of sand and silt and shallow, skinny water. Tap on these once in a while to keep the contacts clean inside for the up and down. And okay, so that, oh, okay, down here, let's bring this up. I have these labeled just so you know what, from hot, from battery, yada yada. And oh, okay, so I just took a silver Sharpie. These are 10 millimeters on the linkage, so I know exactly what tools to get when I do, if and when I do take the lower unit off. These four, 2 on one side, 2 on the other, are 16 millimeter, and there's a 15 millimeter up inside there, up underneath, and a 13 millimeter is what you need to take off this little zinc anode skeg. And so, and then this is a 15/16 right there on this particular motor. So there's your socket dimensions, or combination wrench dimensions, and that's about that.